In this video, I'm going to talk you through the reliability analysis. Before you combining data, so you have several variables that you want to combine into one, you need to check that it's consistent, i.e. that each of those variables is measuring the same thing and that there is a correlation and connection between those variables. Reliability analysis is the tool that does this for you. It is very easy to use, and any good stats program will be able to do it for you. Now, again, it is worth thinking about your data, thinking about what variables should you combine, why am I combining them, and what am I trying to achieve later on when I analyze my data fully. When you run a reliability analysis, your data must meet a number of assumptions. So first, your data must be continuous type data, so it's numbers. There are many cases where you will be using ordinal data, but you're making an assumption that your ordinal data is continuous and you're treating it as such. So if you have scales that are below 4 or 5 levels, you probably shouldn't be using a reliability analysis. If you are using ordinal data, each level, so strongly disagree to strongly agree, represents a number, and your computer program will have to have that number for you to be able to do your reliability analysis. So if you're only having the text labels, make sure you input those numbers. Again, any good stats program should allow you to do that. Each variable must also use the same scale. So you can't use one variable that measures something from strongly agree to disagree, and then another variable that measures like to dislike. And finally, there's a number of assumptions which we'll talk about in the articles that you have to check just to make sure it can do the maths properly. Essentially, once you've done that, once you've made sure the data is correct, you throw your variables into your calculation, into your program, and it'll give you something called a Cronbach's alpha. That score checks the consistency and gives you a number between 0 and 1 that tells you how good your data fits. If you get a value that is below 0.7, you probably shouldn't be combining your data. This may mean taking out a variable, adding more variables. You have to play around with your program to see what to do. Once you've got a Cronbach's alpha of above 0.7, so you've got lots of variables, 1 to whatever, 20,000, you can use the reliability analysis to combine them into one new variable. So let's say you have a series of questions about political leaning, and you want to have one variable that measures political leaning. You take those variables, put them into your program, and then if you get an alpha of 0.7 and above, you can then create a new variable. Again, as with everything, when you do this test, you create a new variable, don't delete your old variables.